Hey guys, it's the Chief here with the Raiders and the Packers going out to Lambeau Field. They're going to be playing out in the afternoon at 1 p.m. The flex schedule's been working, but the Raiders and the Packers are going to begin the showdown.
All because you're giving me a breakdown, breakdown, oh, breakdown, breakdown, oh, breakdown.
What's going on, Raider Nation? If you hate that song, if the Raiders are going to play that bad and, the one word that song mentions, it's only fitting to use that song. I mean, they broke down. It's depressing last week. But going on to this week, the Raiders go out to Lambeau Field and play the Green Bay Packers, an undefeated Green Bay Packers team, and they've been playing perfect record-wise. Are they a flawless team? Of course not. Going down to this team, the Packers, they're definitely one of those teams I can admire for sure. At least respect, because I got nothing against them. They got a world-class organization. Green and gold are good colors, by the way, because of the A's, so I like the green and gold. And then, they say there's two people that watch football or the NFL. It's the college football fan and the NFL fan. Well, the college football fan in me pretty much knows about the Packers, because a lot of college players that I admired in college or when they were in college, a lot of them are on the Packers, Whether it's Desmond Bishop, whether it's Aaron Rodgers, whether it's Mason Crosby, whether it's Randall Cobb, whether it's Clay Matthews, or whether it's my own boy James Jones. James Jones, of course, being the guy that's local here, one of the school's leading receivers. A lot of guys that I admired in college are now on the Packers, and college football fan in me likes them. But this week, of course, gotta dislike them because the Raiders are playing them. The NFL fan comes first. The Packers, as I said, they're not a flawless team. The big thing that they don't have is a great defense. It wasn't the same as last year, how they were pretty much unstoppable the way they were at the end of last year. Their defense still gives up yards. They've been very good in the clutch, which is the big thing. Pass defense, it's not the greatest. It's definitely above average, but it's not the greatest. They, got a nice secondary, Tremont Williams and Charles Woodson out there. And then the linebacking core, of course, they got Clay, as I said before, Clay Matthews being the big guy, who's, of course, dangerous on the pass rush. We got to watch out for him. This game, there's so many things that make this Raiders team most likely to lose this game. The Raiders are going to need to play a near-flawless game if they want to win this out in Lambeau against an undefeated Packers team. The defense will have to be very lights out. The Packers, they don't necessarily run the ball a lot because they don't need to. They got a quarterback in Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, pretty much, I consider him the MVP right now. If I could vote this season, Aaron Rodgers would be my MVP vote. Consider what he's done and the passing and the efficiency. He's been all there. And that means our secondary is going to need to step it up big time. Whether it's against Jordy Nelson or Greg Jennings or James Jones or Jermichael Finley. Got to watch out for all those guys. They got weapons. I mean, Jordy Nelson, I consider him a very average receiver, but when you have Aaron Rodgers, there's that effect that the quarterback can make receivers look good. And in this case, it works that way. The Packers got a load of passing. And even in the clutch, we saw last week against the Giants, they ran a very very fast 1-minute drill against the Giants, which means they can score on the field any second they want to. The defense is going to need to play very flawless. If the Packers somehow run the ball well against us, we're screwed. It's that simple. They cannot run the ball at all on us. They better not, because we're going to get blown out this game if they start running well, because that'll set up the pass, and then setting up the pass will lead to a lot of points. On the offensive side of the ball, as I've said before, their passing game is all right. It's above average. But we can still pass on them. First of all, we got to get healthy. We already learned, two of our receivers being out, our starting running back being out. It sucks. We all know McFadden being out has screwed us. Even though we've won some games without him, it still hurts. This season as a whole will hurt because McFadden could be out for the rest of the year. Who knows? I mean, this coaching staff has not said anything on McFadden. They're keeping it quiet until he's healthy. If McFadden doesn't play, I don't know if I have much faith in this team to win. He's the only guy that really can make the big impacts And, you know, the Packers' defense, I said before, will allow its yards. They've been good in the clutch. And the Packers, they have blown out some opponents, don't get me wrong, but this year they've been very good at winning the close games in the clutch. Winning the close games, you know, great teams can do that, and the Packers have done that every time this year. You know, 2 years ago when they were like 6-10, they had all these close games in the middle. They could have been 10-6, 14-2, but those close games didn't fall their way. Last year, close games were falling their way, and this year they're all falling their way. Packers can play down to their level, the opponent, but they can get the crunch stop when needed. We got to be clutch. We got to effectively run the ball somehow. The offensive line has been pretty bad the last couple games. A lot of penalties also. The penalties have been an issue, but the offensive line has been bad the last 2 games. It needs to get much better because you got B.J. Raji coming at you. That's a dangerous nose tackle. You don't want to see him. You don't want to see that front 7 that they got. It's so dangerous right now, unbelievably. So, yeah, this is going to require an almost flawless game from the Raiders if they want to have any chance at winning this game, because the Packers, right now, it feels like the only team that can beat the Packers is the Packers themselves. And, of course, what I mean by that is that they can self-destruct on their own with penalties or maybe motivation. Maybe they want to get that first loss out of the way, that pressure of being undefeated. Maybe the pressure is partly on the Packers to keep winning and eventually be matched what the 1972 Miami Dolphins have done in being undefeated. Who knows? But they got a big target on their back, being the only undefeated team, the team with the best record in the league. We're going to be tested, and I know we're, as I said, a huge underdog this game. Most people, understandably, are picking the Packers this game. I have no problem with picking that. But the Raiders, was that a wake-up call last week? I hope so. Regardless, the play calling is going to they're going to have to really study their tape and find a game plan for this game, because there's a lot of great talent on the Packers and all over the board. Yes, even on special teams, Randall Cobb can be a dangerous return man, which also means we got to watch out with special teams in coverage. So with that being said, see you guys later. Here's the brief alert here, is that next week for the Lions, I will not be able to preview the game. I'll be here after every game, like after the Packers game, after the Lions game, but I will not have a preview video for the Lions game itself. Next week is finals, and, you know, I have a life, and finals will take up most of my time, so, you know, I always do my research before these videos. I always make sure I look into other teams, look into my own team, looking at how there are. So, with that being said, no preview video next week for the Lions. You will see a bonus video later this week before the weekend, so, yeah, this is going to be a tough test. How much heart do they have? They're going to need a lot of heart, going to need to show up, and they're going to need to play a near-flawless game if they want to beat an undefeated Packers team. So with that being said, we'll see you guys later, and go Raiders.